Welcome back, my creative beings, to another episode of the MV series, where our goal is to unveil the curtains of the fashion and entertainment businesses and give you guys an inside scoop of who's behind the hottest celebrities and creative projects today. Once again, my name is Maria Von Sotten, or just MVS, and I'm, of course, your curator in chief. Creatives, I literally barely got any sleep last night. I was so nervous for today and so excited at the same time because it is a very special episode. It's our first interview episode ever, and I couldn't be more excited because I have the absolute honor to receive a dear friend, mentor of mine, and of course, a streetwear icon who's blessing us with his presence today. From his most recent Supreme and OVO collabs to making history with his jackets, which were waiting for Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan in their dressing rooms after winning the championships, this legend joining us today has not only been making headlines recently, but it has also been a part of crafting iconic moments for decades now. Without further ado, please welcome the king of jackets himself, Jeff Hamilton. Jeff, my friend, how are you?
I'm so happy to be with you, Maria.
I am so happy to be with you. I'm so grateful that you're here today. I know you're a very, very, very busy man. And I'm so excited that you took some time off to be with me today. I cannot thank you enough.
For you, I would do anything you need.
Oh my
I love
gosh.
you. You've been so supportive and loving to me, and I appreciate you very much. And I'm very blessed to be here.
You know, I feel the exact same way about you. You're not only a mentor, but a dear, dear friend. And that's why I wanted you here in this first interview episode for the MV series. I know that I also talked to you about the show, and maybe you thought it wasn't going to happen, but at least we're here.
One thing I know is that when you say you put your mind and you set your mind to something, you do it. You're very efficient, and I didn't doubt 1 second.
I was also a bit nervous. I told you this when you arrived, but then I remember how much we both like to talk, right? So, Jeff, I do want to tell our creatives back home how you and I met initially. Guys, I did slid into Jeff's DMs back in 2020. No shame in my game, right? And I was so surprised, I have to tell you, friend, how open you were to me and to my client at the time. I know we had never personally met before or even spoken to each other. And I was really surprised that that same day you got back to me. I know you mentioned in previous interviews you try to answer every DM that you get. And I find that the most beautiful thing as an established designer that you are, to open these doors for young creatives like myself. And actually, recently, I noticed you've also been opening the doors and supporting a little bit Miami designer that I've also worked with before. And I thought it was so beautiful to see that support you're giving to him. And my question to you here is, what motivates you to keep this channel open between you and young creatives such as Danny, such as myself?
It's just, I'm so passionate about the life I live and being able to be blessed to be a designer and to be a creative and to wake up every morning with excitement, with my heart beating because I know I'm going to be creating something, So me being an artist and painter and creating art pieces in leather and also designing is such a passion that I have, and I just want it to be contagious to all the people. I want to create a legacy. To say that means I am pretentious to think that I might have a legacy, but if I can inspire people to continue the direction of how my passion is to be able to move up the culture in every single way and make beautiful things, and beautiful things make us a happy life.
Absolutely, absolutely, and definitely help inspire other creatives too. I think your openness to open these doors for young people like me and him really motivates us to believe that we can make it the same way that you did, right? And I think this is the whole point of the show, actually, is, to have other creatives in your position, who've made it so high up in the ladder, to keep opening doors for the new generation. And that's exactly what you're doing, Jeff, and that's why we love you so much here. I do want to take it right now a little bit to your beginnings. I know, and we covered you actually a little bit in our last episode about streetwear. We know that you were born in Morocco and you grew up in Paris, right?
Correct.
And I was mind blown, friend, I'm not gonna lie to you, to know that you actually studied mathematics and physics, right? That was crazy to me because I know you, the artist that you are today. So to me, I was like, where did this come from?
It's kind of like a very odd journey because I still do love math. I love numbers. And, my dream, really, believe it or not, is I want to become a CPA. That was my dream. I want to be an accountant.
I was not expecting this.
And honestly, for me, if I don't spend 2 hours doing accounting every day,
Right.
that's what it's like. It's like kind of my mental workout, So I moved to America. I got married, was 19 years old in Paris, and I moved to Los Angeles like wanting to live the dream.
Absolutely.
I didn't want to live in France. I mean, I had my whole family there, but I really just wanted to take a chance, and whatever I had to do, I wanted to do. I was attracted into the jean business, and I kind of loved fashion, but I really didn't know anything about it. I had no idea what it was. So I moved when I was 24, and I had a wife and two kids already, and I moved to LA with $6,000.
That's insane.
I couldn't find a job, just like looking all over, trying to do anything. So I started buying from a store, selling to another one, and one thing led to that. Fast forward, I met somebody that became my friend. It was always dressed up. I mean, very well. That's the only thing. I always dressed up nice, even when I didn't have any money. We kind of hit it off, and it was French. And for me, it felt comfortable being in Los Angeles, in downtown, in an old beat-up building. And we were talking French. And this guy was George Marciano.
Oh, wow.
And and he had not even started Guess Jeans yet.
Right, so it was never really initially about fashion to you. It was kind of just happened. It was meant to be.
I just want to be in the business. Obviously, I was very financially motivated and ambitious. I wanted to succeed. I didn't care. I mean, I wanted to succeed. I still had the mentality I would succeed by any means necessary. So, I mean, it was not like I wanted to do something and I just wanted to make money.
Just open
I just
to
wanted to
absolutely, that makes sense.
Because as an immigrant, and don't forget also, I came to America completely illegal.
Right.
I mean, I didn't have a green card. I just came as a tourist.
That was a question. Why the United States per se? I always wonder that.
It's a dream that I had since I was a kid.
Okay.
So when I was a kid, I didn't know about basketball, but I loved basketball. I had posters of all the legends like Jerry West and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Will Chamberlain, and names that maybe the young generation don't even know. I mean, Jerry West is the logo of the NBA.
Yeah, absolutely.
So in my room, I mean, that I share with my brother, we had a room, tiny little room, and I love everything American. I mean, in fact, like when I was a kid, my real name is Joseph, and I changed my name to Jeff.
You know, I wanted to touch upon this because it's something after I met you that I realized. I was talking to a fellow designer that knows you as well, and I was saying, because, I'm meeting up with Jeff when I was in Los Angeles. Remember that I talked to you. And he was like, his name is not Jeff, right? You've never thought about this. And I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't.
It's been Jeff since I'm 10 years old, so it's not like, but go back to George Marciano. So one thing led to the other.
Right.
They started Guess and started taking off like crazy.
So he was a mentor to you, for sure. You did have a mentor.
Without a doubt. I mean, he was just like one of the most talented, inspiring things. I mean, they knew about lifestyle, they knew about restaurant, they knew about dressing up, they knew about cars, they knew about beauty and art, and really was inspired by him. There's no question that he was the biggest inspiration in fashion for me. So I started Guess Jeans without any expectation of me being a designer or to do anything.
And it did come from your friendship with him. That's how it all started.
Yeah, because they wanted me to work for them, and I said no. I'm 25 years old. I don't have a lot of money.
You were really interested in that.
And I just really want to be independent. I want to be my own boss. I want to be able to control my destiny.
Absolutely.
So I basically was the first licensee of Guess Jeans, and I took the man's Guess.
Right.
And I started working out of 600 square feet. I didn't have any employees, so the guy who ran the freight elevator in a big, old beat-up building in downtown Los Angeles told me I know how to do patterns and I know to sew. So I said, come and work for me. I said, I don't want to be up and down in the freight elevator. I said, okay, come and work for me. And I had a guy that was supposed to be the designer, but I didn't like the things they were doing. So I started getting it through my closet because I still had, I think, to my own personal thing, I had good taste. I like to think.
You always have.
So I started picking up stuff and I said, you know what? I like this pant, but I like the side of the pocket, but I like the design on a shoe like that. So I'm going to move that and put it together. And I started creating certain things like that. And I basically always say I became a designer. Obviously, it became a passion, and I'm passionate to design and to create nonstop. And whether it's furniture or shoes or art.
You're an artist.
But I became a designer by necessity.
Right.
Because my business needed it. The accounting part was covered.
Right. You're already, we know you still love that part.
I had the right combination of being a business person and also a creative, which is kind of like the two parts of my brain worked out good. That's how I was able to succeed over the last 40 years.
I definitely agree with you. I think that it's so important to have a little bit of both. I definitely had to in styling myself as well, so I understand. And I think it's almost like the best formula, right, for an artist is to have a little bit of both. So really the business runs well. And it's funny that you were saying about Guess that you originally actually didn't want to go there, because one of my questions for you was going to be, how did it feel as a young designer to have your name attached to a big household name at the time?
It's just like hindsight, obviously I would have done everything differently because I was a kind of decent looking kid, you know. I
Right.
mean, I was not into drugs. I was not into
Right.
gambling.
Focus, which
I
is
didn't even drink
important.
a drop of alcohol. I was, you know, just married at, you know, at the
Absolutely.
time. And suddenly I'm coming from the nerd, like the math nerd from Paris. And I'm like, and I see all those beautiful models and my head start getting big.
Spinning and spinning.
And I start believing my own BS, you know, that,
Right.
that all the creativity and all the success is only me that's doing it. With wisdom and at a late date, even today, I don't attribute one bit of my success to myself. I'm blessed to be in a position, and I don't mean to be religious,
Right.
but I'm talking spiritually. I feel like today I'm a channel
Right.
that I understand the success that comes to me comes because I'm able to attract that and I'm able
Absolutely.
to convert it as an antenna and being able
Absolutely.
to do it. So the minute you start believing that you are the man that's doing it, the universe has a way to remind you. And
Put you
unfortunately,
right back in your place, right?
unfortunately, the universe put me in my place many times. So
Uh-huh.
I went up and down so many times. So for young designers, my main advice is always be very consistent.
Right.
Don't ever give up. I mean, if you start something, you're going to have good days and bad days. Just do it. Never procrastinate. Never push
Number one
anything to
rule.
one. Number one rule. Because procrastination is you assume that you are so good that you're going to be there tomorrow morning.
Absolutely.
So
Everything is guaranteed,
it's
right?
guaranteed.
And it's not.
You don't know that you're going to wake up in the morning. So do whatever you can while you can, and never feel entitled that you deserve to be because you work and it's this. So everybody's doing a favor. The guy who's opening the door, the guy who's washing your car, every worker is as important as you in the puzzle
Exactly.
of it. So the 4 points for success, and all you need is to cover 3 of the 4 points to
That's
be successful.
awesome.
So number 1 is you have to work hard, and everybody in the world can work hard. I don't
Right.
care whether you're a designer, whether you're a stylist, whether you're an interviewer, whether you're a cameraman.
through it.
You clean windshields in the red lights.
Absolutely.
If you work hard, nobody can take that away. So that's number 1. Number 2 is try to work smart, which is a little bit more difficult. Is don't be too greedy. Just don't run. Just walk slowly, but make sure you don't make the mistake, because sometimes it's so attractive when you see like a beautiful slice of pizza or beef or pizza.
Yes,
You say
yes.
like, I want to eat the whole thing. No, just okay. Just it's still there. Eat slowly,
Little by little.
eat little by little, and enjoy the experience.
The experience.
Always enjoy the journey of where you are, and it doesn't matter if you go there too quickly. You're going to get to the destination.
You
I
are.
don't care if you drive 30 miles an hour from point A to point B. You're going to
You
get
still
there.
make it.
If you go at 100 things, you might get faster, but also you might risk
Absolutely.
an accident. So work smarter. The number 3 is very difficult, but you really need to find where your talent lays out.
Right.
So if
See
your
your
talent,
fortes, right.
what is your forte? What is God-given talent, or the universe, what the
Right.
universe has gifted you?
Absolutely. I'm very spiritual too, so I believe in all.
So the universe told you to be a great accountant.
Right.
Be the best accountant you do if you have the passion of it. If you want to be a designer, do that. If you know how to get a squeegee and go on the thing, but be the best at what you do, but also be passionate, because the passion is going to fuel you the energy to wake up in the morning and just want to go, can't wait to get it done and do
Exactly.
that. So you have the
Exactly.
3 elements, you're going to be successable. That's it.
Absolutely.
So now the sprinkle of top is what we call
The cherry on the cake.
The cherry on the cake. A lot of people call lucky. Are you lucky? Which for me, I rather not use the word luck, because I don't believe in luck. I believe in blessing.
I
And so-
agree with you fully.
So the blessings, when you do everything right and you try to position yourself
Exactly.
the right way, once you know that money is not the number 1 goal that in your life,
Absolutely.
try to still keep the humility of knowing that lifestyle, you have to build space. Once you have that out of the way,
Right.
then you can be free to be as creative as you can be.
Exactly.
And then be the best person as you can be. Be generous to the people that you have.
Exactly.
Help people out. Always maximize your potential.
Exactly.
And somewhat, the universe has a way to reward you and to give you the blessings.
Exactly.
And call it luck, call it blessing. So now, when you have those 4 elements, you fulfilled because you're living a very happy life, and you know there's always going to be the challenges.
Right.
There's always going to be a car that stops in the middle of the road.
Absolutely.
And so accept it
And enjoy that ride.
And another thing very important that I really feel like I want to emphasize, and I push everybody, because we all have very dark time in our life.
Absolutely.
Enjoy the dark times in your life. Appreciate the dark time of your life. You know, just don't worry about it. It's very dark. But one thing you know is when you're in the middle of the night, tomorrow morning the sun is going to rise. As long as you stay the course and you work hard, you work smart, you do the things that you're passionate, the sun is going to wake up in the morning.
It's going to wake up in the morning.
And you're going to have that beautiful light, and the light that's going to wrap all those elements, and those are the blessings.
Absolutely. Wow, Jeff, I think you gave a huge life lessons for our creative beings to use and really live by. I think it's so important, everything you said. I couldn't agree more with the 3 plus your 4th point, the sprinkle. I think it's a huge guiding point for any young creative starting, and to really understand, to enjoy the journey, even the difficult parts, right? So my friend, you know, just bringing it back a little bit to your story, after Guess, right, the true magic happened, the most famous jackets in the world. How did the idea of that come about? Were you afraid to start on your own after Guess, and how old were you at the time?
I was 30 years old.
Okay.
You know, it goes back to probably like when I was a kid and I came for the first time in America, I came with $150.
Wow.
And I remember I was an exchange student. I stayed at a family.
Right.
And I walked into UCLA because
Okay.
I didn't know where I could find Lakers merchandise. Nobody had anything like that.
Okay.
And I went to the bookstore, and they had
Wow.
all that merchandise with a T-shirt and everything. Everybody was wearing a T-shirt, a hat,
Something.
a sweatshirt. And I went out and I bought one jacket. And
Okay.
I had $150 for the whole month.
Wow.
I spent $100 on one varsity jacket, and I paid $20 for a pair of Ray-Bans. So
Oh.
I still wear, you see, I still wear like a... So I basically bought myself a persona,
Right.
even though it was summer, and so walking to Paris, I had that beautiful navy with UCLA with a white sleeve. I didn't even think the sleeves were leather at the time.
Right, they were just like...
They were probably plastic or whatever. But I really felt like I bought myself a skin. Like it's like the girl that wakes up and she has a beautiful glam team, and she comes in. She's
That's
like,
how you felt with the jacket on.
she's a
basically.
swan. So I felt like I was a swan. Like suddenly I turned out into
Wow.
like a personality, and I felt like that confidence and coming to think of it, when I thought about it, that's
Right.
really when it started. So,
Oh, wow.
So in the 80s, I started writing Harley Davidson.
Right.
So it was like really early on, where
Absolutely.
from the Hells Angels and all the real bikers, we tried to make the Harleys a little bit more trendy. There was the rock and rollers at
Right,
the time.
right.
So I used to ride with James Caan, the guy from the Godf, you know, the actor from The
Yeah.
Godfather, and Billy Idol, and
Oh, wow.
and Poison, and Guns N'
Oh,
Roses,
wow.
and so I used to ride Harleys, and we just
That's
we
insane.
felt like a real
Rock star.
a rebel,
Yeah.
and my hair was up to here.
No
I had
way,
I had
I have
the
to
I
see
had
this.
the earrings. You know, I mean, actually, my first motorcycle, I'll have to show you the picture. It's my friend Richard, who was my salesman. He sold me leather, and he
No
made money.
way.
And Richard basically created Chrome Hearts.
Oh,
so,
Lord, right.
so I have my hands in a lot of all the new designers.
Right.
I like whether it's a gallery department or all those guys have one way somewhat work for me.
That
So
is incredible, Jeff. I
the
did
peop-
not
the
know
people
this.
from
It's so
17,
important.
The people from Citizens of Humanity, they all have worked for me at one point of time in their
Wow.
life.
So you really have helped raise this new generation even.
And I'm very proud of that.
very
so,
unseen.
So that indirectly, knowing or indirectly,
Right.
I inspired certain people to do it. So
Absolutely.
I started writing Harley Davidsons, and I just really wanted to look good.
Right.
So at the time, I would go on Rodeo Drive and try to get to the
Find,
stores.
right.
And Claude Montana was like the
Claude
biggest brand. It was
Montana,
amazing
yes,
leathers.
yes.
It was beautiful. I loved it, you know.
But it wasn't a Jeff Hamilton.
But it was not. Jeff Hamilton didn't exist yet. So I started making my own jackets, and I started putting big eagles on the back and rhinestones and studded. And I started making just for myself.
Right. It wasn't
And-
even with that intent initially.
And then when I started doing the trade shows, because it was such a conversation piece,
Right.
and everybody was loving it, I didn't even know how to produce it. So the way we produced it is we were cutting them actually with scissors, little pieces, and glued them like little puzzles and putting it together.
like an art
I don't
project
care if it
almost.
was like I had 10 people working with it. Maybe the jacket at the time was costing me $2,000, my cost to make it. I'm talking 1985, 86. But I felt like I walked in, I mean, I was really a rock star.
Yeah.
And
I mean, you've always been
but I
one.
was like, like I was in a studio when Guns N' Roses were recording. I would be with George Michael. I would be at Michael Jackson's house, So during all those times, I have all those special living experience that I've had, which I'm only cherishing because I never appreciated that I was right there. So I started making those jackets, and so when I started doing the trade shows, because they were such beautiful conversation pieces, I started putting them on display. So everybody wanted to buy it. Nobody thought they could sell. They extended the same idea. We're going to take that jacket, we're going to put it in the window. People are going to come in to the store. They're going to ask about it. They're going to buy something else.
Absolutely.
And if we don't sell it, we'll keep it for ourselves.
Okay, great.
And lo and behold, everybody started buying them. And the NFL approached me. They wanted to do a jacket for one of the owners of the New York Giants. I made it. The NFL said, we want you to do it.
In the trade show, that's when it happened.
Yeah. So,
oh, wow.
Through a friend at a trade show. So, and they introduced me to the licensing people. And the NFL said, we want to give it to you. We don't care if you sell 10 jackets, but image-wise, it's going to elevate our brand. And at the time, that was already in 1988. So I did, and it took off. And obviously at the time it was, like I told you previously, it was all Raiders, because like it was the era of NWA and Ice Cube and Dr. Dre and Tupac and Biggie and all the things, and which I did a lot of things at the time when everything was starting. With Puff Daddy, when nobody even knew where Puff Daddy was. Everyone knew Sean Combs.
You were already there.
And as a studio, ran DMC, all those people. So I started doing that. And from that, people say, wow, Michael Jordan is great. The Chicago Bulls, even though I was a big Lakers fan, say, let's do Chicago Bulls. So I did that. Then I did the MLB, and then hockey. I did Walt Disney. And I said, anything I make jackets, I make jackets. And the business just took off like crazy. In 1988, again, after finishing with Guess in 1986, right away I converted into, and I really just stayed, because originally I was going to do a whole lifestyle brand. And I said, as an artist, I can use to paint on a canvas. Or I can choose to work with a jacket. The jacket, you can make so much of a statement.
It's an art piece. That's the truth.
So you walk in and you know that, like I said, it's like, you buy your skin.
Absolutely. It's like a second skin. It's like you're feeling your rebirth.
And leather is so natural medium to work with because it has that appeal of richness. And I found my exactly the place where I wanted to be, my niche.
Exactly. Your niche. So basically it all started truly for you with the NFL, and then the historic moment for the NBA came right after that.
No, the NFL licensing came after, but the personal relationship with Magic came first, because I always was a
So you were friends with Magic first. That's where it all came from.
One
the
of
NBA
the first
started.
celebrities I made. But I played basketball in France when I was a kid. I loved basketball. For me, was like a passion, and being able to be blessed to sit on the court for 15 years, seeing Kobe and Shaq and winning all the championships.
Right, because the NBA also blessed you with the beautiful BRYANT family, right? That I know you have a great relationship with.
Yes.
And it was something.
And there's a lot of amazing projects. I will tell you off the microphone.
We're excited. Hopefully we can have you back again to tell us firsthand here what it is. So Jeff, I do wanted to ask you too, when talking about your line now, and you're already as obviously Jeff Hamilton and having your amazing brand. When you started that, right, I know you already had a lot of success. Did you feel restricted in any way? Because I know I've heard an interview that you sat back home in France. You felt somewhat of some restrictions, that you wanted to really branch out, and that's why it was one of the reasons you also decided to come to the United States, right? When you started the line, or even, as a designer in Guess, did you feel the need to fit a mold to become successful as a designer or with your own brand?
One of the things that I always felt was I really didn't want to fit in a mold. I didn't feel like I needed just to create because somebody else came up with a great idea and let me just do. I always want to be my own self.
Right.
So all my friends were mega successful in Los Angeles in the jean business, in the fashion business, but I still always had my own niche in my own market. And
I agree.
And people still don't understand where my niche is, because I've been doing it for 40 years and 35 years, and still people try to copy me, but still have not figured it out.
You're alone in your own lane.
But very simply, to the risk of repeating myself with passion, and I do something that I love. And I'm blessed to know that by doing something that I love,
absolutely,
I touch the nerve of some people, and that's the reason why actually, and I was successful before social media. When social media came on the stage, especially Instagram, for me, it really just gave me the motivation just to go back, because I was retired for 10 years doing nothing but art, and I was designing one jacket here for Drake, one jacket here for this one, that jacket, but it really motivated just to go back, because I felt like, how can I just be doing something that I have, and I have millions of people following me? I mean, just because of what I do, and that's, I think, one of the things that I do. I want to stay very true to my integrity of what I do. I don't want to sell out in a way that, I mean, I could come out today and make a whole lifestyle brand, which I work on a couple items here and there, and I'm dropping a new line of tracksuit, but much more elevated, much more ornate, but it has to be me. It has to represent me. It has to do something that. The biggest compliment I always had is, there's two compliments I really love, and that you can tell me those, I'll be very happy.
I'll take note.
There's somebody walking the street, and they say, "I knew it was your jacket because it looked like a Jeff Hamilton jacket." And
how crazy
and to be honest,
is that?
I mean, sometimes they were not Jeff Hamilton jacket,
but it's still Jeff Hamilton.
But people feel like, even when like Virgil came up with those beautiful jackets, and you know, obviously we had an amazing relationship. People said they are inspired by Jeff Hamilton, and even Don C told me, "You're one."
No, but I've actually heard that before from people
they actually
close
wrote,
to him.
They wrote to me. They gave me a trophy. Said, "You're one of my mentors," you know, and how humbling it is to know that, for me, like, one of the greatest, if not the greatest designer of our era, Virgil, has been somewhat a little bit inspired. Because imagine, he was a kid in the 90s in Chicago, growing up with Michael Jordan is the biggest thing in the world, and still is for me.
Absolutely.
And seeing all those crazy jackets in the streets, and all those young kids in Chicago dreaming of having something like that. So and it did full circle, because actually Don C is such an amazing,
grew up in,
and his was partner with him, and actually Kenny as well. But there were such inspirations. He's such a beautiful soul, Don C, and such a great friend of mine, and we work together. We love to do things. So the second compliment that I have, and that's probably one of the biggest thing, is like, I have kids in the street at 16, 17 years old. That I at that point I retired in 2015, and I took I told you I did art and different things for 10, 12 years, and people stop to me and they say, "Well, you're such a legend." You know, I don't know. I'm a clothing designer, but I say, "Thank you so much for what you've done for the culture."
You see?
And for me, that's the biggest compliment. If people say I have some kind of a little dot on the table, a little crumb on the table, that to say that I had some kind of contribution to it, that's my biggest honor, because that's really what I thrive for.
Absolutely.
And the stage of my life right now, like I say, financial success is not my priority. I mean, a lot of people are it, and don't get me wrong, I'm very ambitious, and I love the beautiful watches, I love the beautiful hotels, and the beautiful cars, the beautiful homes, boats. I love all that stuff, but it's not really about that. For me, is to know that I'm continuously keep on moving the needle and living in the moment. The most important thing for me is also living in the moment, because if you at 67, I still feel 30 in my soul.
Right.
And
I do feel like you're 30. Like every time we're out.
I just want to be in touch with the times, and be relevant, and doing the things, but still having my own DNA,
essence,
and my own essence that shows. And again, that's probably the best compliment. And I have people coming to say, "Thank you so much for what you've done to the culture." I say, where did everybody get the memo to come and tell me that together?
But Jeff, I'll tell you, this is the most beautiful thing, because, and again, this is one of the reasons you're here today, because I think you're the perfect example of how we want to see, the younger creatives, the younger artists behind the scenes shining, the same way you did. And if you did it, I know it's possible for the new generations of creatives behind the scenes to be able to shine the same way that you did, right, throughout these years, which was so incredible to see. And touching on two quick things that I wanted to ask you, going back when initially the jackets became very popular, after the NBA, back in the day, you know, from Will Smith to Madonna, everybody was wearing your jackets. I know
Sure.
that. Who was the celebrity or A-lister for you back in the day that you were like mind blown to see, you know, that it really touched you?
There is 7 celebrities in my life that I really have marked me.
Okay, I love
And
that.
when I throw the names, I mean, you're going to sound like I'm very pretentious, but really, those are the only I mean, as of today, I mean,
Right.
last night I was with Travis Scott.
Right.
I feel like a 2-year-old little baby, a 2-year-old little girl that sees like a Mickey Mouse.
Yes.
You know, my heart is beating. I'm excited,
nervous, sweating.
I'm just like so appreciative to be in the moment because
And that's so
you know
beautiful, Jeff.
I realize greatness and
Yes.
talent, and when I'm around, I have that. But there's 7 people that really made those more than anybody
Okay.
else. You know. For me, on top of the list, I mean, I know everybody is always surprised. The biggest one and the nicest one, the one I have nothing but love and passion and respect and I love with all my heart,
Right.
is Mike Tyson.
Oh,
So nobody,
I
because
love that.
I think he's such an amazing, intelligent people. The perception of him is so different, but he's such a loving, consistent friend for me for over 30 years. You know.
Right.
So that's one. Of course, Michael Jordan.
Of course.
Michael Jordan, I've been with him in my
So
life
many years
over
now.
100 times. I've had meals with him, but I'm still shaking
awe of his
every time I'm
presence.
with him. Because, you know,
Right.
you have, if everybody has a 6-foot aura, he has a mile aura around him.
I
mean,
only
you feel
imagine.
like you're walking on air when you're around him. That's
Wow.
Air Jordan.
That's what I was
mixed.
going to say.
I met Nelson Mandela, so that was very
Oh,
special.
wow.
Just to be
That
with
would
him.
be a dream of mine, I have to say.
So, of course, I mean, for me also, like one of the presidents that I met,
Right.
you know, I'm not a fan of all the presidents, but one of the presidents I met that I really felt like I was
cloud nine, yeah.
President Clinton.
Right.
I met with him, and there was tens of thousands of people around
Right.
him, and I met him. And he gave me 20 seconds. And I'm 6'1", he's like 6'3".
Oh, okay.
He towers over me and looks down on me. And it was my time. And he blocked all the time. And I learned that when I speak with somebody, I give them their time. And it's not like a quick thing. I just try to spend as much time. Even though it was only maybe 20 seconds, I felt like it was very special. He took 20 seconds of his life to give to me. And I felt very special. Then there is...
How many moments?
Kobe Bryant didn't make the list at the time
Right.
because I met him when he was 17, and I was very comfortable. It was
Right, he
I'm
was
not
a
going to
kid
say we
at
were
the
buddies, but listen. I was at the Laker games. I was there, and I felt it was. But as he grew, as he evolved, and as he
Right.
became the beautiful icon and the beautiful inspiration for the young generation, it became, and he had that aura that built
Of
up on it. You know,
course.
so him. Same thing with LeBron.
Right.
And LeBron, the same thing. I met him when he was still in high school.
Wow.
And he gave me his jersey when he was in high school.
How crazy.
And I made a jacket. He was kind of like, nobody's going to get in
Right,
trouble now.
right.
But it was illegal for him to get the leather jacket at the time because you were not supposed to bust to be gift. But he
My
was wearing my
God.
jackets. That's how I gave him
You
the
were
jacket. He
probably
gave it.
already an idol to him from
You know,
day
that's-
zero.
Those are the things and which I found out. So pretty much those are the people that I really have, that I feel like for me, if I have, and of course, I mean, let's not forget one that goes all the way to the top. I mean, maybe second or third is Muhammad Ali. So,
Oh, my
so
God.
So Muhammad Ali for me was really, but imagine growing up in France and
And your Mohammed jacket is everything.
and just being around such greatness, you know, in different things, but Mohammed was, he would come to my office. He would do tricks.
Humble. He comes across as humble.
He came out and did magic tricks to my employees, and
I
and
can't believe-
one of the other icons I met also, which I cannot believe that, and I went to his house. Is Jerry West. And
Jerry West.
A lot of people might not know who Jerry West is because obviously
Right.
he played early on in
Yeah,
the
it was a
70s.
little while ago.
But he's the logo of the NBA.
Yes, he is.
When you look at the NBA logo, he's the man of the
Yes,
logo of the NBA.
that's literally him.
So for me to be around such greatness over the years, and knowing that as a kid when I was in Paris, I looked at that Jerry West number 44
Right.
jersey there, and then
Oh, wow.
he became a friend. And I'm I just like have
How
to
was
deliver
becoming
jacket.
a friend of his after the
And
poster?
he's
That
just
must
so
have been
amazing.
crazy.
And he's like 88 years old, and his sons are friends of mine. And
I love
I
that.
go to his house. It's such a. My life has been filled with so many blessings by being
It
around
really has.
so many beautiful people,
It really has.
such as you.
Oh, my friend, I feel the same with you. You know, you're a dear mentor of mine for a while now. And I do want to go back really quickly before, we continue into the fact that obviously at the time you were also really big with the hip hop artists, like you said yourself. And I think that almost your jackets at the time became a poster boy for like luxury streetwear culture.
Right.
And I know I heard you in a previous interview that you did that you didn't intend to do that initially. And why do you think that happened?
Again, I give credit to Dipset.
Right.
In 2002, when Cameron went out and started writing a song, and he started mentioning my name in his song.
Wow, that's how it. Okay.
And honestly, I never even looked at that video till 2015.
Wow.
And I look at that video, and I see on the background, Virgil is in a video.
Oh,
Dancy is in a
my
video.
God.
Kanye is in a video. I mean, and those guys, nobody knew in 2002, nobody knew who those people were. They were like just like part of the posse that were behind, like dancing with Cameron. And Cameron was the biggest thing in the world.
Wow.
And at the time I was making pink jackets in 2000, 2001, 2002. Part of my career when I came back was like, obviously Instagram had a lot to do because
Right.
one time I got a DM and then somebody said, wow, you're such a legend. I love what you do. And
Right.
I would love to if you're in Beverly Hills sometimes,
Right.
if you ever come to Los Angeles, Beverly Hills, I would love to have lunch with you. And I said, I live in Beverly Hills, but before that, and because I love what you've done for the athletes, and that was actually in 2019 when I
Right.
decided to
Wow,
come back.
okay.
And I look at the DM, and I see the guy, I didn't even pay attention. I knew there was a blue check, so but there was 15 million followers. So who's that? You know,
Just 50 million followers,
And I don't
yeah.
offend anybody, but
Very chill.
Not me. He had 50.
I know.
And at the time, I had maybe 1.5 million followers, which already I didn't understand why, because I had not put one new content.
It's so beautiful how humble you are. I think.
I had not put new content. I thought that was already, my ship had sailed. I was not relevant anymore. I was kind of, for a few years, I was turned off by fashion because I really got hurt with a lot of people trying to steal
I
all my
do
things.
understand that a lot.
And,
I do. The competition
and hurting
is high.
me. So that's the reason why I'm so guarded in everything that I had. And there was A$AP Rocky. And honestly, at the time, I didn't know one song of his.
Right, right.
But so I ended up meeting him the next day. So we had lunch, and he said, "I really want to make me a jacket. Next month is going to be A$AP Yams at the Barclays Center." So I couldn't make the jacket. I mean, you can't make a jacket in 1 month.
You
I mean,
can.
especially the custom one. My
I know
custom
that.
jacket took me 3-4 months to make. So I ended up. I said, "If you want to, I'll give you one of my personal archive."
You were so
jacket
generous.
that I wore when I was with Kobe Bryant when he had that piece, which is another story on its
most
own.
famous
To a few,
picture
there
ever.
were only 3 people in that piece. In that, so there's a whole
Really?
story just about that moment right
wow.
there. So. And he said, I would love to.
Right.
So everybody knew he wore my jacket. The next day, Supreme posted his pictures. Virgil posted his pictures. Everybody
It was
doing
a
it.
crazy
And everybody
frenzy.
started building it. That was
Right.
January 14, 2020. And unfortunately, 2 weeks later, January 26, Kobe Bryant died.
I know. I'm
So
sorry.
when he died,
Yeah.
it kind of like Kobe basically blessed me in a way that he helped me go back. He inspired me just to go back to work. So everybody started reaching out to me. So now everybody knew the jacket because at that time it became the most iconic
Absolutely.
jacket in the NBA period. You know, and the second most iconic jacket is when Michael Jordan made the last shot in Utah.
Yes. I studied it all.
And I'm in that picture also. So
Yes,
for you to know.
I've seen you in many of them.
Little Waldo in the background, you can see me. So when Kobe Bryant, I said, I have to be back doing it. So there was the NBA All-Star game in 2020 in Chicago.
Right.
I reached out to all my friends, all the rappers, and I basically only went through my archive and I loaned them all of them, which was Dave East and Ludacris and Chance the Rapper and
Everybody.
and
It was a
everybody.
Christmas day.
Then Jim Jones and Vado they said, is it okay if we write a song called Jeff Hamilton? I said, me? I said, and we want
You're
to be in the
sure?
video. I said, I just don't want to go to New York to a video. I said, I really didn't take it serious. And the jacket became viral. So now every time somebody posts a story of me, they put that song
Right,
and they're
you're
all
like,
wearing my
"That's
jacket.
me."
So and then just everything just took off, and he has not, for the last 2 years, it's been a roller coaster from 1.5 million followers that just
No,
jumped
you
to
haven't
over
stopped.
5 million, and I'm just been doing amazing, beautiful collaborations.
Shocked you're still my friend.
No, it's
So talking about this, actually, my friend, I do want to touch on the fact that you were saying, you saw me finding Waldo, find me in the picture since when the jackets became popular back in the day. Do you think that because you were always so open and so willing to show face, make personal relationship with the celebrities, the key players in their careers, right? Do you think not only at the time, even before Instagram, you were already there shaking the hands,
right.
making sure to be seen, and they know who was the mastermind behind this, right? Do you think that helped you stood out back then and even today, right? Because you you basically became a personality as well, right? Through that.
Very, that sounds very pretentious, but I became somewhat some kind of celebrity, not an
You
official.
did, it's true,
I'm not an
though.
official celebrity to the public,
Right.
but I became some
Within.
kind of celebrity for the celebrities.
I get that.
And one of the things also, and from a business point,
Right.
and I give advice to all the young designers. That's
Right.
very important.
Yes, it is.
I never give away things. I mean, occasionally,
Yes.
but the fact that the personalities went up and paid for it, they appreciated so much more the fact that they were paying than receiving it. When you get something for free, people don't appreciate it.
I agree.
You get
Good
packages
tip,
and you
guys,
put
by
it
the
on
way,
put it
yeah.
on the side, and and I'm sure you must be getting tons and tons, and and you feel bad. You want to help some people, but you don't do it.
You
So the
don't.
fact that even Michael Jordan paid for my jackets,
Wow.
but in a different way. So when Michael Jordan we want a jacket, I'll make 2 or 3 jackets. You know what? Just pay me for one. The 2 jackets are free. But you know what? Sign me a pair of shoes, or sign me a jersey, or do something for me. At least you know what there is.
This respect,
there
right?
is- as long the balance is, as long as I'm not here and he's here, or he's here and I'm here, you feel to the same level. That's the key. The universe has to be even.
You're collaborating, right?
But even the rules
Yeah.
of the universe have to be even at all times.
I agree.
So I'm not
completely
better
agree.
than the guy who served me the coffee, and he's not better than me.
Exactly.
And as long as you understand that, and that's what comes the humility. So to come back to me being sweet and humble to those people, that's the way I choose my life. I get about 600 DMs a day. I answer all of them.
I know you do.
And I don't care if it's a fan in the Philippines, and sometimes it's just a little emoji, hands, a little heart. I answer it. And I have people, young designers reaching to me, want to do collaboration. I don't do it, but I still want to give them advice. And if I can
Exactly.
direct them, and sometimes when they do something, I repost them on my story just to give them a little boost. And
The shout out is so important,
but
Jeff.
I really appreciate the hustle,
Right.
and when people are coming in, and when I see greatness in I see greatness in some beautiful young designer. That's such amazing.
Absolutely.
And I know they're going to be succeeding. There's not, for me, as a no-brainer. When I see certain designer, I know they're going to be successful because I can feel it. I've lived it.
Absolutely.
So humility is one of the biggest important things. Like when you're a boss and you have your workers and your sewers and your cutters, just put them to your level, because without them, you are nothing. So
couldn't
just
agree
know
more.
that always stay on the level, and the more you do that, the more you keep it even. If you don't have balance, it's never going to work. If you're here and somebody's here, somebody's going to bring you, it's going to hurt you to bring you down, and if you're here, you're going to be jealous. So there's nothing. So you have to always
Keep
try
the
to keep the
balance.
balance. And if somebody is not acting appropriately to you in those elements, you have to exclude from your life. You have to push it out.
Literally. How crazy. I truly believe in everything you just said. I think it's one of the reasons for bringing the show as well, is to really understand that, that equilibrium within the industry, even if it's with the designer and the celebrity, or the stylist and the celebrity, it's important to really maintain that balance and make sure, right, that relationship is equal in both ends, which I love. And I do want to talk a little bit about, because we've talked about your celebrities back in the 80s and the 90s. We talked about your celebrities today because you really have transcended generations, literally. So how does it feel to be able to do that? And was it hard to do that, to really stay relevant all these decades within
It's
celebrities and
mind-boggling to
fashion?
me. It's mind-boggling to me
To
to know
me
that I
too.
have
You're a phenomenon.
to have that. And one of the things, and because of you, or a lot to do with you, your contribution is. It's been so amazing, my ride. Obviously, with the hip hop, I have such a big history.
Yeah.
But the Latin world. I mean, when I was last year at the fashion show, the beautiful Virgil fashion
Yeah.
show here in Miami, and a friend of mine, and I saw Maluma, and I love Maluma. First year I had worked before,
Yeah.
and I met Maluma, and I said that I really would love to take a picture with Maluma because I'm a fan,
Right.
as a fan. And so my friend said, "This is Jeff Hamilton. He would love to take a picture with you." So he took a picture with me, and then he went behind him, and he said, "You never told me you were a friend with Jeff Hamilton."
I would have liked you more if I knew that. That's
my
hilarious.
rise in the Latin world has been so amazing. Obviously,
You were a visionary to open these
starting
doors,
with you,
yeah.
with Carol, and with obviously Anuel, who has
Yeah.
been my biggest supporter, and he has been my
Our
biggest
baby.
poster boy, and loving me, but again, I mean, walking into a concert in Calabash and
How
seeing
crazy.
Daddy Yankee, and he say, "Hi, I'm Jeff Hamilton, Leyenda." From where? Where were you 5 years ago? How you that? And Osuna
and he's so kind, too.
and Benito and all those guys.
Yes.
And I'm just like, I mean, obviously I love Bad Bunny, like who doesn't, right?
literally, who doesn't?
So I've been able to do things for him as well, and just like countless beautiful, whether it's like Randy and Joel or
I'm so impressed that you know it all.
Arcangel and Zion and Lennox and Lunay
Latin.
and
You're
all those
Latin.
guys.
You
And
know
those
you're part
guys,
of
and
us.
I found that something. One thing I found out about all the probably hundreds of celebrities that I deal
Right.
with is that, with the exception of a couple of them,
Right.
all of them are very humble. So it's kind of like so amazing to be able to be still
This
feel
relevant, right,
that
and
you're
connected.
humble and be able to connect. And if you're not connected, you create a separation between everybody else. So you have to be connected in order to feel and be relevant to your
Absolutely.
community.
Absolutely. So it's true, and I feel like it comes very natural to you. I think that you already had that career before. You're already able to break some boundaries, right, with the NBA and the celebrities back in the day. And so I feel like maybe in your comeback then, it was easier for you to get around because you already had this within you. And obviously people already, the younger artists that were now coming out, like you said, obviously had you already as an idol.
Yeah.
So I'm sure you were able to transcend that with, right, more ease.
I'm only doing things that I love,
Yeah.
and I'm passionate about whatever I do, and I'm every second of my life, every nanosecond, I count my blessing of being able to be so passionate, and I talk really from my heart, just doing the things I love.
I know you do.
So
I
even
know.
on the collaboration that I do right now, and we talked about it previously.
Yeah, I actually wanted to ask you soon.
As a bridge to talk about the collaboration, is I have been very selective in the collaboration, because collaboration that I've done, I'm not doing it for the financial success.
Right.
I'm doing it because it's again getting my little break and my step into milestone into the culture.
Absolutely.
So I don't care how big the collaboration is, but as long as it's the right one, I'm loving it.
Yeah, and actually talking about collaborations, which, and transcending generations too, I was so excited when you told me the news that you and Supreme were going to collaborate. My heart was literally beating for you, because I know we talk a lot about things you want to do, or, privately between us, or brands you would like to attach yourself with. And it was just so exciting to know that, like, two icons of the luxury streetwear made a baby, pretty much, And how the hell did that feel to you, and how did it maybe come to the table for you?
Talking about cherries on the cake, and I still, but I can use more than one cherry.
Yes, of course.
A few years back, maybe 4 years ago, Nike came out with a shoe. It was a total knockoff of my jacket, like the one with all the patches.
Oh, I think I remember that,
and then
actually.
Supreme made the jerseys and the jackets.
Right.
So that's really where the first glimpse of what the culture started supporting me.
Right.
Complex and High Beast and all those people started interviewing me. USA Today, I mean, every big news network
Was on it.
started on it and said, you know, it's pretty obvious that it's Jeff Hamilton.
Right.
How come? And even Nike, one of the big
Yeah,
designer
literally.
of Nike, and I already had an amazing relationship, all the way from Phil Knight to the president of the Jordan brand,
Absolutely.
to Michael, to all the people that created even the Jordan brand. They reached out to me and said, how come we didn't give you credit?
Wow.
I said, you don't
I was
tell me."
wondering the same thing.
I was
right?
wondering the same thing. I mean, I said, I didn't ask for any money. I didn't
Wow.
ask, but that would have been nice just to say that that it was it. So basically, Complex magazine, I think, or IB said, you know, basically they snubbed me by copying everything that I have.
Absolutely.
And on something that I created, a concept that I created, and anybody can do whatever they want, and they can do their own interpretation.
Yeah, of course.
But it would have been nice to just
To give a hello.
put my name and no news out of it from Nike. I mean, other than my personal
Right,
friends.
right.
And then we move on, and then Supreme has a bunch of other jackets. They start copying me, like
Yeah, they were very inspired. Yeah.
one that has all the patches, and then Saint Laurent came up with, they copied the jacket I did for Madonna, and Dolce did another jacket I did for Andrew Dice Clay at the time in Guns N' Roses.
Yes.
Like without a bunch of, way before Ed Hardy,
Okay.
way before, like all tattoos and different things. I'm talking like 1988.
Wow, okay.
And so, and obviously for me, the Holy Grail was always Supreme, and
Of course.
it still is, you know, because
It
you're
still
talking
is.
about luxury streetwear. It is. They are the kings of it,
And they barely put any marketing to it either, which is the craziest part, right?
It's amazing. So, so when they finally called me, I got a call, an email, and said we need to get on a Zoom. And that was during also probably maybe a few months, right in the middle of the pandemic.
Okay.
And my first question to them was,
Why now?
"Why now? What took what took you so long?" Like, in a way, I don't know if they thought that was not accessible,
Right.
or maybe they felt like they did me wrong. But ultimately, when we started the project, and I went and met them, and I had the blessing of meeting James Jovia, who's the creator of Supreme,
Right, yes.
who nobody knows who he is. He doesn't
Top
like to
secret.
take a picture with anybody.
Yeah.
And I basically show him the sample, and I show him the art piece I had created that I delivered with the jacket and the bag and
Absolutely.
the packaging that I did with that. And I have witnesses because people
Right.
went with me. My CEO of my company was with me. Couldn't take pictures, of course.
Of
but
course.
the first 2 minutes, he was praising me of what I did for the. I mean, you're talking about
doesn't
the biggest
surprise me.
icon that there is in the culture. I mean, if you are telling me about any brand that I would want, I mean, as I love the Gucci's and Louis Vuitton
Yes.
and the Missonis I thought that we're working with, and the Dolce and Fendi's and
Yeah.
all. But Supreme,
Yeah.
when it comes to the culture, is the staple and is honestly the Holy Grail. And for me, I mean, I said, you know, that's exactly what I feel about you, and more. You know, so I mean, it's just like for me even to talk about it sounds so pretentious, but it's so humbling, and I don't want to come across that I'm bragging, but it's because I'm so appreciative,
Oh
and
my
I'm so
gosh.
humbling for people to feel that I had the able to reach out somebody as influential and as so creating of such a beautiful culture, what Supreme means, for me to do that. And then being able to we did only 43 jackets.
Yeah, well,
that's all we did, but it took us
Very
such an
limited.
amount of work. It
I
took
can
me
imagine.
6 months to make the jackets, and every jacket was painstakingly being done by hand, little dots of
No, and the work you
leather,
do,
and
I
did
know.
everything together. Basically,
takes
they
time.
dropped the jacket for $10,000,
Right.
which at the time I suggested that they sell it for $15,000, but they were scared that 15 was going to be too much. But 10,000 was still the most expensive jacket they ever sold. The most expensive jacket or clothing piece that I ever sold was the $5,000 Virgil Supreme Louis Vuitton jacket for
absolutely.
$5,000.
I know which one it
the,
is.
The
Yes.
red one, yeah. So that one, within a week, in the market just to $18,000, $19,000, $20,000. Some people telling me through the thing that one sold for 45,000.
Yeah, I was telling you, I was so impressed with the prices.
And it's
and the resale.
But again, it's not about the idea. For me, what I take of it is not about the dollar amount. Is that I'm in an art world right now. I'm not making a jacket again because you're cold.
Yeah.
I'm making a jacket because we want to push the culture.
Exactly.
And creating my art on the canvas and giving the art pieces, and know that when somebody buys one of my jackets, is you making a statement, not only by wearing it, but also you buying a piece of art that's going to be appreciating, and it's the biggest compliment.
It would last generations.
So I'm welcoming collaborations, very small collaborations. Like, for instance, one time I was at an event, and I was with Drake, and we took a beautiful picture. I took the picture, and he was wearing a Missoni sweater. Next day, my dear friend Giacomo Missoni, now my dear friend, who is the CEO of Missoni North America, and beautiful, him and his beautiful wife, 32, 33 years old, and he reached out to me and he said, how well do you know Drake? I mean, I would love to do something with him and this and that, and he said, I'm a big fan of your jackets. I follow you, of this and that, and I had no idea. So we're making, fast forward a year and a half later, we're making a collaboration together, only for the Webster. So we're doing 30.
I actually started at the Webster.
Really?
I don't know if I've ever told you this. I was there for years before I started.
They have an event tonight there tonight.
Yes, they do.
And I don't know how I'm going to do that, because one of my favorite lines, and I'm going to give a shout out, and he probably doesn't know it, that I'm of his biggest fan is, I love Casablanca.
Oh, I love Casablanca.
I'm crazy by Casablanca.
Likewise.
And I'm going to give you a little part of history. I am born in Casablanca, so for me, so there is a correction, and I can feel.
So the city was Casablanca.
I really feel that energy of that creative designer
vibe
there,
and
I actually DM'd me yesterday because I say I really need to meet you and say hello to you, because I love, and that's one of my, because of, even though it's not overly known across the board, Casablanca yet, but that's one of the things that I think is like,
I think
those are the brands
explode.
here to stay for long, and that's going to be one of the highest luxury brands that are going to be here all over the world. So I'm very excited to hopefully build up my relationship with them. So I did that with the Webster. So they have the party with the Webster tonight. So we do only 30 jackets, very limited edition, like a varsity jacket, but very unique. And again, and we're making a lot of other beautiful collaboration. We've done one with OVO. We've done a lot, just.
I know the OVO you've done twice already, right?
We've done twice. We're about to do the third one. And again, it's just so rewarding when we come up with a design that we put it out there, and it sells out within 24 hours.
It's crazy. I can't even imagine the feeling.
And it's just like that there is enough of an attention that people know. It's like, I'm so... I have such an admiration for Travis Scott when he comes out with those shoes and
really
Nike, and he sells out, and
so
suddenly
fast.
it goes up in price because people are buying a piece of art, and it's something to stay that's different. It's just like milestones in the culture.
Right. And I do love that, Jeff, no matter how much time passes, you're always still hitting new milestones, which is insane to me. I get a lot of questions, even of young stylists or designers that we start working with. Oh, I'm not where I wanted to be yet, or I haven't reached this milestone. But with you, I think you're leaving and breathing proof that no matter the age or the time, you can still hit your dreams. You can still conquer new milestones. Look at the Supreme. Imagine you as a younger Jeff, not understanding, right, what happened there, why did they do that, and then them coming and calling you at this point in time. It's just crazy, and it's here to prove to you, creative beings, that there's no time, right, Jeff?
One of the things that I really just reiterate again on everything for the success of young designers, and if I can give an advice to any young creative person, it doesn't have to be a designer, it could be a stylist or director or anybody that's creative. be relevant, be with your time, know what's going on.
Exactly.
Educate yourself. I mean, don't be like, and you do that by not being lazy. Go to the stores, shop around.
Research,
and
right?
Research, follow listen to music, even though it might not be your style. Just know what you feel. You need to impregnate yourself of what the culture is
Yes.
about. And then
Absolutely.
you find yourself how you can adjust to that, and you ride on the train of the culture.
Absolutely.
And you put yourself into it and say where your talent fits into those cracks. And as you do put that, you make it a smooth surface, and then
Start finding your way.
and you find an easy ride to it. And it's just, and that's the reason why. I mean, I have one small regret is like being 67. It is the first time in my life that I feel like maybe time is clicking, my clock is ticking.
Right, you're starting to feel more
I feel
of
like
a-
I said, there's so much more I want to conquer, from a creative point, and I just want to be. So I'm setting very long milestones. I did the 50 greatest players for the NBA in 1997, and in 2022 I did the 75 greatest players with the NBA. So I went back to the commissioner. I said, I don't care. I make a commitment. I want to be the one that's going to design the 100th anniversary of the NBA.
I love that.
And I want to be the 100th. And then I set
Man
up
with
my
a
mind
vision.
that this is what I do. I'm going to be 91 years old. I'm going to be there doing it. I don't care if my company might have been sold or
Right.
whatever I'll
You're
do.
still there.
I'm
You're
still,
still
I
there.
still want to be able to do that. So I'm creating milestone to reach out, to do this. And I want to be in the Hall of Fame of the NBA Hall of Fame.
I have no doubt you
Because
will.
I want to be
have
part
no
of all
doubt.
those iconic moments that all the NBA players have been done. So those are the simple things. Like I said, my jacket going to space, me being into
That's great.
NBA 2K,
Yeah.
me walking fashion shows, me being mentioned in. So far the Latin guys have not mentioned my name yet, but I'm working very diligently.
Oh yes, I know.
to
I
push
feel
it.
like pretty
So-
soon you'll have probably a
I need the
surprise
shout outs
coming
from
our
all
way.
the, my Latin hermanitos.
Hermanitos, all of them. You have a lot, which love you very much here, and you know that.
And I love
Jeff,
them as well.
Right? And I think that you also, I think it was funny because when we started collabing with you back then, I think, I think the Puerto Rican culture in general, Jeff, they are obsessed with basketball, and you know
Yes,
that.
yes,
You know
yes,
that
yes.
by working with us. And so I think they always understood you and like the jackets, but when I really brought you to the table that time that we started collaborating, like even my client and like the other artists around him were mind blown that you were even here or like talking to me via DM. He was like, Maria. I was like,
And
But
for me,
it was always
I was so
something
puzzled
huge for
that
them.
it was, yeah.
Something huge. And
Because but I really believe that even beyond Michael, who's the greatest
Right.
brand and the greatest
yeah,
celebrity in the world,
You can
and always
definitely say that.
and he's the one who basically the culture, as we always refer to the culture, is Michael Jordan started.
Right.
Michael Jordan started with his persona, with his charisma, with the shoes, and that with basketball transcended to hip hop and transcended to streetwear, transcended to music, to reggaeton,
Yeah.
to weed, to whatever you want to call it. It's just to even, and now to all the luxury brands being involved in it.
Yeah.
So Michael Jordan is basically the sparkle and the seed level of what today's culture is all about.
Absolutely.
And again, the blessing for me to be there
It's
right
huge,
from
yeah.
the beginning with him and being able to be able to talk to him and I'm supposed to have lunch with him in the next couple of months, and I'm going to be flying.
And
to
you
Palm
still
Beach just
feel
with
that
him.
honor, right?
Oh,
To
it's
be.
how-
I think
how
that's the
can we-
most
this is
beautiful thing.
The greatness of the personality.
Always being grateful.
But again, very humble.
Yeah.
And they just. He's the only guy that calls me Jeffrey.
Ah, you see?
He calls me Jeffrey because his name is Jeffrey also. Michael,
Oh, wow.
Michael Jeffrey Jordan. So he always called me Jeffrey because his mom, which I know
Right.
very well and knew his dad very well, may rest in peace. So he calls me Jeffrey.
Oh, so you
every
guys
time
are
I
like
would-
name brothers.
So every time I would walk into the locker room after the championship, Jeffrey, where's my coat?
Oh,
That was the first thing he'd do it. So
demanding.
because he
was
knew
like-
that he had to put it on,
For the
and that was
picture,
like
yeah.
the validation that he won the championship. And because the real validation up to that point was always getting the ring.
Right.
So, but the ring, you get it like
and it takes like 3 months, right?
4 months later. But here you have
I heard
instant
that.
gratification to do it. So it's kind of like an amazing feeling. And obviously the torch carried with Kobe, and then with Anthony Spurs and LeBron, and this year with Steph Curry.
Yes.
I mean Steph Curry, I felt like he was so impressed coming to me and meeting me. I mean, I'm the biggest fan of Steph Curry. He's such a beautiful, like such an icon of our times.
But you are too. You are too, and you know that. I think that's why you are here, because you see this respect that all the A-listers and the celebrities have for you for like decades at this point, you know, is not very common, Jeff, you know, either for a designer, unless they're attached, you know, to a big household name.
Right.
And you're not. You have your own thing. So it's truly like a phenomenon, you know, and I think we're trying to teach other behind-the-scene artists that this is possible, and it's something you can do as long as you don't box yourself in, right?
Exactly.
And I wanted to ask you one last thing that I think it's so important. You know, we always talk about so much success, and we know you're just gonna keep shining brighter than every star, as you always do. But it's important, you know, I just invite you to think maybe if there was, what was your biggest struggle to become a celebrity designer? And was there any point that you almost like gave up?
Oh, I did give up, yeah. I did give up probably in 2004. I mean, through personal reasons, you know. I mean, I made the mistake to sell my company too fast because, you know, I was going through a very nasty divorce with my first wife that lasted 19 years.
Oh, wow.
And which affected my relationship with my kids.
Absolutely.
And so there was a lot of personal pain that
going
I went
on,
through.
right.
And I was really burnt out, and everybody's just basically try to, the vampire starts, you know, I'm in a way as smart as I think I was, and mastering my craft and my business, all the vampires came to, because I'm so vulnerable, because I like to be so open.
You are.
Everybody just tried to steal. You know, there is real vampires in the world.
Especially
I mean,
when you're as kind as you are. I've felt that too.
People don't suck your blood, but they come
The
around you
energy
and they suck your energy. And sometimes you're around a person, and after 2 minutes you say, I'm just drained.
I'm tired,
and I'm drained because that person just sucked my energy.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was at that point, and I really wanted to give up. I didn't want to work anymore. So I sold the company, and the company didn't want to pay me the money they owe me.
Welcome back, my creative beings, to another episode of the MV series, where our goal is to unveil the curtains of the fact.
Even as I'm traveling right now, I'm in Miami for 8 days. I design 50 products a day, no matter what.
You're here with me.
I'm here, but I'm
50
still.
Other things. You're always.
I'm going to be producing, designing. I might not even produce one piece, but everything that I see is an inspiration. So I screenshot, I take a picture, I see a building, I see a shirt, I see a car. I take a picture, and I have a library of 10,000 things. You know that for me.
Your mood board, yeah.
A mood board that I will never run out of business. And people say, how does a creative process you do it? You know, I don't wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning and take like a pencil and I just start sketching and putting it and smoking a little weed. No,
like we imagine it to be, right?
It's just like the design process is you become mechanical in a way, because it's part of your being. You know, and I'm not at all to the level, and I don't try to pretend that I am, but a guy like, let's say, Paul McCartney or the Beatles or whatever, and maybe some of the young audience don't know who they are, but you know, when Paul or any great star like Travis Scott or anybody or Anuel goes to a studio, he sits down in the studio. I don't care. They're going to come out with a song an hour or two later.
Yes,
might take 6 hours.
Yes, they will.
Because you know the step that it takes to have your own identity, your own DNA, and you start to do it. So every young designer have to follow their thing. It's not, if you believe that you're going to be dreaming and going to happen, it's not going to happen.
Right. I think it's important to say that.
You have to be mechanically structured in a way that you know the direction that you are.
Exactly.
And listen, when you're a painter, and a pure painter, you might have that inspiration. When you're a musician, maybe, but even the greatest artists and the greatest a composer, the great singer, the great stylist, the great director, they have a technique.
Yes, they
and
do.
you create your own technique, and your
That's
technique
right.
only comes from your experience and your life experience of whatever you've done. But also know that you cannot get stuck into that experience.
Right.
Because sometimes the big
There's
mistake...
bumps in the roads for everyone, right? And it's important for, I think, the creative beings to understand that even being where you are today, there was a lot of milestones, right? A lot, and we've
there
all
is
been there.
hundreds of miles of struggle, but the biggest mistake that people do,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why the failures come, is that when you have an amazing brand, and you're very successful, and you catch a moment in
Right.
time and you're successful, then you get stuck to that moment because you want to keep on living that moment from the time. I mean,
I do understand
I have
that.
friends of mine that they're my age, but in 1985 they had the long hair and their earring, and they still have the long hair and the earring.
And you're like, what's going on?
And some guys in 2000, they saw Allen Iverson wearing the do-rag, and at that point of life, it was a good time. They made money. They had a great year. They're still living the do-rag and the old man.
Wow.
So just know that you need to evolve with your time. Keep your own essence, but as a designer, it's so important. The most important thing, if I have to give one word
Yes,
out of all the
please.
different words, is just be relevant. Live with your time. Don't get stuck into the thing. Try to always push the envelope.
Right.
If you made something great last year and you had a beautiful song as a composer or as an artist, take that one and push it a little bit more.
Right.
But don't get stuck to that one, because you don't want to be one-hit wonder.
Exactly. And I think
Whether
this
it's
even
in-
happens with musicians, right?
And that happened with musicians, that
Yeah.
happened in fashion, that happened in every industry when there is a cross creative process.
I
in it.
agree.
So myself, I do, when I create my art, I do mostly leather art,
Mm-hmm.
but I just stay out of my comfort zone. I go out of my comfort zone, and I do acrylics. And from
Yes.
acrylics, I do sculptures.
You don't box yourself
And I don't
in.
want to box.
Right.
The universe is my limits. I mean,
I love that.
those who reach touch the stars.
Yeah.
That's my main thing. That's always been the motto that I've always lived. And I learned that when I went to Michael Jackson's house for the first time in 1983, when he
Right.
came out for Thriller.
Uh-huh.
And I went and I started designing things for him. And I walked into that house in Encino, and as you walk in a big driveway, there was a big sign, "Those who reach touch the stars." And that became my motto. Like, there is no limits. You have to go towards.
How inspiring.
Go
Literally.
towards your
That-
goal and always make it happen.
Absolutely.
And interesting enough, I became very close friend with his son, Prince, and he invited me for Halloween,
No
which was the 40th
way.
anniversary of Thriller, and they had a Halloween party
Oh my
at the
gosh.
original house where Michael Jackson grew up. And
That's
and
iconic.
that was
That's
beautiful.
literally
So
iconic.
It's on my Instagram page. Look at it.
I have to check it
I
out.
did a mini video of it, and it's just like really beautiful.
Oh my God, I have to check it out. I love that story. And Jeff, I do have still 2 more questions for you here today. I think the first one is definitely trying to understand, you that lived almost like the beginning of this streetwear luxury market. How do you see it different today than it was when you started? Is it more open to new talent? How do you see that?
It is open to whoever wants to get in.
Right.
It's how much heart and desire and soul you want to do it. And it's not about, oh, you know what, I need to raise capital because I have an idea. And listen, and nothing wrong with all the young designers. And if they want to start, everybody thinks you're going to make a T-shirt and a hat. That's good. That makes you a designer. And no disrespect to it, because some people are able to transcend that to bigger thing. But you have to really understand that you really need to be. You have to find your identity. Without an identity, you're not going to be able to sustain.
Yeah, and you can't copy another one either. I think it's
and you
important to
cannot copy.
understand that,
But
right?
having said that, you can be inspired.
Yes.
I mean, it's okay. I mean, if you see a beautiful piece that I made, or
Yeah.
Gucci or Dolce has made, or my favorite designer of the time, like Casablanca.
Yes.
You find something like that, it's okay. Just go with that and try to, but don't copy it.
Right.
Make it a level that has, I'm not saying better, but that has more your personality. The biggest
Add your
blessing for
DNA.
me that I have, also one of the other, and I'm really always count my blessing, is to be able to be my
You
spokesperson for
definitely
my
are
own
your
brand,
own, right?
and me be able to passionate speak about the things that I do, and me being my brand ambassador. So for me to talk about it with passion is just that's what I think. I mean, a young designer has to know that just keep on doing, just
Yeah.
don't give up. But also, like for instance, we talk about dear friend Danny Weir,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and it's just like I'm so inspired by him
Yeah.
because he has so much passion. You call him at 2 o'clock in the morning in
He's
his
on it.
studio
He's
working.
on
And
it.
but myself,
Yeah.
like I said, I mean, I'm at 8 o'clock in the morning every morning.
Yeah.
I mean, and literally, if you call me at 3 o'clock, I will answer
I
my
know.
phone.
And you both are like that because, I had the same experience with you that, you made magic for us happen. You were, an angel in our lives at that point. And it was funny that you're mentioning Danny because I actually had an award show. This was a few months back. And we had an incident where, another artist ended up scoring kind of the same, outfit that we had. And I remember this vividly. I called Danny at this was like midnight one. And I say, Danny, I'm freaking out. Like, my client doesn't want to change the outfit, and we need to make something happen. So I was like thinking of this idea of the old scriptures of whatever.
Graffiti.
Right. And then he basically brought in a friend that was a graffiti artist, and we're graffitiing all night. And we got best dressed the next day. Nobody ever noticed that it was even the same thing. And so it was fantastic to see. And you see inspiration comes.
Again, because I love him as a son because and even though I just met him recently, it's just because his passion is so palpable.
Yeah.
There's such a fire in him, and I'm just, if I can mentor him in many ways,
Which
I
you
would
have
tell
been
him.
for sure.
And I told him
He's
certain
lucky.
ways about his branding, of how he has to do it, and just never get stuck into a corner. Just try to open the horizon in different ways.
That's
So.
beautiful, Jeff. I love that. And, I think my final question for you here is there a specific mark that you want to leave in the world? Obviously, besides the multiple historic moments you've already participated in, what's next for Jeff Hamilton?
I have said that before in maybe other interviews, but I still have to repeat myself because, in fact, I created a jacket as an honor to Virgil, and I called it Legacy. So again,
That is beautiful.
Legacy is and the way I put it, legacy is, for me to speak about legacy is so pretentious. It's so egomaniac to go out and say, who am I to think that I have a legacy? But it's also very humbling.
It is.
Because it's the desire to leave something, leave your mark in a museum or whatever it is, or that your name means something
Bigger than yourself almost, right?
that carries on when you have left that earth.
Right.
So what I wrote on that jacket, I said my definition of legacy is planting seeds into a field without the expectation to ever see the flowers
Wow.
fully bloom.
Wow.
So it's kind of like the same way
That hit deep.
when you have a baby and you put your love and your passion, or a tree, and you put the water, everything, and you make sure it's in front of the sunshine, and you feed them, you give the love and the warmth and the cariño just to create everything that you have.
El cariño.
Because you might not be you're not going to be there to see the end result and see your kid becoming a beautiful man or a beautiful woman and having beautiful kids on his own. Like, you're not going to see the tree where the beautiful fruit is going to be there, and you're going to grab that fruit and take the sweetness of it. But you leave it for other one to share, because you were the seed level and you planted that seed, and a sparkle from all the love that you put in with your passion.
That is so beautiful. And I definitely have no doubt, Jeff, that you're going to leave a legacy not only on me, but I think on many creatives to come. You are truly an inspiration for us all. I think that, my relationship with you definitely opened my eyes, to a whole new world, and to the fact that you were so kind. You know this, and I've told you this before. I was lucky that I actually had mentors like you in my life, but there's times you reach out to certain designers that aren't very open, and it's just, you really have changed my perspective of how, a relationship with a designer that you barely even know, it still can be open that door for you, right?
The blessing is on mine. The blessing is on mine. I mean, it's like when somebody calls me, and sometimes just a regular customer,
Right.
and they DM me and they have a question. So I say,
Talk to me.
give me a number.
That's so beautiful.
Give me your number.
You are
And
that
and
reachable.
it's
He is
just,
that reachable,
and it's just like
creatives.
a regular young kid, 17-year-old kid that just bought a jack, and I FaceTime.
You're a
and they
blessing.
cannot believe it. And I said, I cannot believe I'm so impressed. I said, no, I'm impressed. Because for me, when people give me the love, I feel like I need to give it back. And it's just so rewarding for me to see the joy of people when they appreciate something that I love to do. It's a validation of the fueling of me to be creative and to do the things that I love and continue doing it. Without the fuel, you cannot move on.
That is so beautiful, Jeff. And you're definitely, I think, the perfect example of how we want to see all creatives shining moving forward, the same way you were able to shine on your own, which is the most beautiful thing. And you are truly a phenomenon for what we said, not only for your character, your values, the class of a man you are, and the amazing artist that you are, but I think your personality today is just as big as your brand, which is like unseen mostly in this industry, right? And that's truly why I wanted you, Jeff Hamilton, here today to prove to our creatives that it is possible, to not box yourself in, to become your own personality, and really, besides being an iconic designer, you are Jeff Hamilton today.
For me, it's all about inspiring. And if I can inspire anybody to be creative, I don't need to copy anybody.
Yeah.
I don't need to do anything.
You definitely don't.
I love everybody to be successful. Everybody has their own talent in their own way.
And their
I
own
might not be
light,
wearing
right?
the things, I might not be my taste, but I appreciate the niche and where they're going.
But you're one of the few, because this is something we actually spoke about, and it's something I've noticed in the field, not only within the designers, Jeff, but also stylists. There's a high competition, and I feel like, unfortunately, throughout the years, there's this culture that was created, right, where it's like, oh, he'll take the client, but he'll take the job, but he'll sell more. And it's like, why can people understand that there's really a light for everyone? And you are one of the few, that do fully understand that.
So as long as you find your own identity and your own niche, then you can feel comfortable that you stand on your own and you don't depend on anybody else.
Exactly.
It's been a great honor to be
Oh,
with you
Jeff,
tonight.
I am
Thank
so
you.
happy,
and
my
you know
friend.
how much I love you, and since day one, and you're one of my closest friends, and I love you so much.
I love you so much. Thank you, creatives. My creative beings, thank you so much for sticking around and joining Jeff and I today. We really, really hope we brought some wisdom and answered some of your curiosities, as well as shared valuable insights with you guys at home. Finally, creatives, remember we are streaming every Wednesday on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. And do not forget, creatives, to follow our additional contents posted on our Instagram and TikTok, also all under the MV series. Thank you so much, creative beings, and I really hope to see you all next week right here at the MV series.